Good morning, good morning. It is actually 5 o'clock in the evening. We are making tons and tons and tons and tons of broccoli cheese soup. It's kind of time consuming, but it's delicious, and then it freezes and reheats beautifully. And it is also my spouse's very favorite thing. So here is all of the ingredients. Since everything gets pureed, I am going to run it all through the food processor to make the cooking a little faster. I think that's it. Just makes it easier rather than trying to later on puree everything in a huge stock pot when it's full size. So I'm gonna break it down. The recipe that I'm including at the bottom is based on one reasonable amount of soup. So I'm making more than that. And it's based on the amount of broccoli. So one batch is 4 cups. So I'm going to dice up, food processor up the broccoli to see how much I have. And that will tell me how much of all this other stuff that I need to use. So before and after. Now I have to figure out how much this is. It looks like a lot. Turned out to be 17 cups of broccoli bits. And so that means that I will quadruple the recipe for everything else. So let's get all of that chopped up too. Okay, so it calls for 2 carrots. I tend to put more vegetables and stuff like this because I like them. Number one, carrots are delicious, but also you can cram in a little extra, I don't know, whatever vitamins and fiber that carrots have. So I'll probably put, most of this in there. And this is frozen carrot bits, like they were coming to the end of their date. And so I cut them up a little bit and put them in the freezer. And now I'm going to use them in the soup. And the texture really doesn't matter because, again, it's all getting pureed. So before and after. And I used all the frozen carrots and then all but that much of this big old bag. I guess that 1 carrot is like a handful of the little baby carrots. So, yeah, okay. And so now we need to move on to celery. So before and after. There are little carrot bits left in the processor. So I ended up using both of those bunches of celery because why not? Like it's not gonna hurt anything, and it already calls for like 8 stalks. So no, 4, but then I double it, so 8. Anyway, it's a lot of celery, but I think it's gonna be good. And then our next thing is onions, and again I have some that I diced and froze, so it wouldn't go to waste, and so I'm going to use that, and then probably 3 of these since it calls for 4. That's probably about 1. Yeah. Okay, so before and after, and they did get me. So if I sound a little snurfly, that's why. All right, our last thing that we need to cut up is garlic. So before and after. Okay, so now we're gonna go to a double burner thing for just a little bit. We wanna go ahead and get started on the soup part. So we are melting 2 sticks of butter, because remember I quadrupled this recipe. It's a lot of dairy. Of course, I'm sure you could do dairy-free subs. It also calls for chicken stock, which you could sub for vegetable stock if you'd prefer. I go full fat, half and half, and the whole thing for mine. Might be why Joe likes it so much. So in this pot, we're melting butter, and then we will add in the flour and whisk. And there's a lot of whisking. You whisk this as it cooks, and then you whisk in half and half, and so much whisking. I think actually it's chicken stock first. Anyway, we'll get to that. But for now, melting butter. And then in this pan, also melting butter, so that we can saute the onions. So we saute them clear, a little brown, delicious. And then we add in our garlic, and then that gets set aside to be added with the other vegetables in a bit. All right, so here's our onions before and our flour and butter before, and now I'm gonna whisk for 3 to 5 minutes until the flour taste is cooked out. Okay. All right, the onions still going. It's gonna be a while. And the flour and butter is cooked for about 5 minutes. And now I'm going to add in 8 cups of these guys, very slowly whisking the whole time. So you want to add just a little bit and whisk, and then a little bit and whisk. And that keeps you from having lumps. We don't want lumps. Lumps are no fun. Okay, onions still going. And now our chicken stock broth is all integrated with the flour and butter. And now we will add all of this half and half. Again, slowly and whisking the whole time. Onions still going. Okay, now look, oh, it's so full. I will probably be transferring this to my Instapot because it's a bigger bowl, I bet. But for now, this is butter, flour, chicken stock, and half. And now it needs to come to a simmer, and then it simmers for 15 minutes. All right, onions are browned a little bit. So now we're gonna pop in the garlic, cook that for like 30 seconds, and then set it aside. Our soup base, not anywhere near simmering. Still not simmering, but I think it's really close. And also, I have gathered my senses and realized there's no way to fit all of that into this little baby pot. I don't know what I was thinking. So I am for sure going to split it, not just dump the whole thing, but split it between this pot and the Instant Pot. So I can use the saute feature on this, so it'll work just like a burner, and we'll get the same results. And then I'll probably, blend them together when I put them in their little freezer bowls so that it's homogeneous. All right, we continue to wait forever. This is not fast. Finally. Okay, so we are a little bit past the simmer. I will turn it down and then go for 15 minutes, and then splitting up things and cooking some more. Okay, so we simmered for 15 minutes, and then I split that big bowl and the pan of onions between these two things. And now, again, we bring it up to a simmer, and this time it simmers for 20 minutes. Okay, stand by. Also, while this is heating up, we add all of these things: salt, pepper, mustard, paprika, and cayenne. The salt, pepper, and mustard, I would definitely recommend. The paprika and cayenne, it's really up to you. If you like it, go for it. If not, don't. The mustard helps the cheese flavor be more cheesy, so I recommend that. And obviously you should salt and pepper, everything. So I don't have specific measurements that I use. I just do it till it tastes right. And with this batch, it's probably gonna be a lot. We have simmered for 20 minutes. So this is what it looks like now. Okay, so our last 3 steps. First step, puree. Second step, I just use this guy, immersion blender. I'm sure that there's other ways, but that's the way I do it. Then we add all of the cheese, and then I'll probably run the immersion blender again just to make sure it's well incorporated. And then we taste for final seasoning. I recommend going a little light on the seasonings for this round because they'll be frozen. And then when you go to thaw it, you know, the freezer, you might need to add extra liquids, or, you know, to get you the consistency when you heat it up. I usually do. I usually add a little bit of chicken stock. And then I will usually add a little extra salt, pepper, and cayenne pepper, just to taste. So yeah, so I would go a little light for batch cooking on your seasonings, and then bulk up the seasonings when you're actually serving it. So before and after. And final tally, we had it for dinner. So this is 18 servings. Oh, the cat says hi. It took about 3 hours, which is, you know, a long time, but that is 8 dinners and 2 lunches. So that's pretty good time overall. I'll do the math, hang on. Okay, that is about 22 minutes per dinner, or about 20 minutes, no, hang on. Okay, so that is like 10 minutes per serving of soup, which is, I think, very good. Joe keeps telling me I'm doing the love you buys wrong, so let me try again. Love you bye. I love you bye. Love you bye.